Hello everyone, welcome back to Review and Rate. Today, we're entering into a world of outlaws and government agencies. That's right, we are going to rob a bank and escape the law to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2, a game developed by Rockstar Games and released in 2018. If you're a fan of gunslingers, freedom of gameplay, and memorable stories, you won't want to miss this review. Now, let's take down these lawmen and get ready to enter the world of Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 has exceptional gameplay that keeps you engaged from start to finish. It is a massive open world game filled with places to explore and activities to do, whether you are traveling on the road or spending time in towns and settlements. You can progress through the story by completing main missions and side missions, but the game offers far more than just that. If you want to pass time, you can sleep, and if you need to travel long distances, you can ride a train. It costs money, but it gets you to your destination quickly and feels natural within the world. You can collect items found throughout the world and earn money in different ways, either by stealing or earning it honestly. You can go fishing or hunt dangerous animals, which adds to the survival and realism of the game. In addition, you can swim in lakes, drive boats, ride trains, and there's even a mission where you use a hot air balloon, which was a really cool experience. You can also interact with characters you meet along your journey, especially the main story characters. These conversations often include small narrative details that add more depth to the story if you pay attention. Character customization is also well done. You can change your hairstyle and trim your beard, which naturally grows over time, allowing you to customize the look of your character however you want. Your horse plays a huge role in the gameplay. The more you ride it, the more it upgrades and improves, creating a bond between you and your horse. You can also steal other people's horses and make them your own if you want. While traveling, you will frequently encounter people who need help on the road. Almost every ride feels meaningful because the game constantly gives you something to do instead of making long rides feel empty or boring, which is a really smart design choice. You can also take part in bounty hunting, where you capture criminals using a rope and bring them to the law. It is especially fun that you can catch people without killing them by tying them up instead. If you decide to act like a criminal, you can steal and cause trouble, but there are consequences. If you get caught, the law will start chasing you. Areas where you commit crimes become marked in red, and the law will continue to pursue you there until you pay your bounty and things return to normal. Speaking of the law, they are extremely strict. Even small or accidental actions can result in them coming after you, which adds to the realism but can also be frustrating at times. If you accidentally run into someone or slam into a person while moving, the law will immediately come after you. At that point, you can either surrender and go to jail or fight back and escape the town until the law stops chasing you. Even if you kill or capture someone in the middle of nowhere, you are not always safe. Sometimes random people will witness what you did and report you to the law, which makes the world feel alive and unpredictable. If you get killed while free roaming outside of missions, you lose money. However, if you die during a mission, you respawn at a checkpoint. Thankfully, the checkpoint system is very good, and you usually respawn in fairy locations instead of being placed far away. Both you and your horse have stamina bars, so you need to manage them carefully when running or riding for long periods of time. These stamina levels can be upgraded, which makes the system feel balanced and not annoying. When you take a lot of damage, you can heal yourself using consumable healing items. You can also heal automatically by staying in cover and waiting for your health to recover, which helps you survive intense combat situations. I am sure there are many more things to do in this game that I still haven't discovered, which really shows how massive and impressive it is. Because of that, let's move on to one of the most fun parts of the game. The game features a lot of cutscenes, but it balances them well with enjoyable gameplay moments. Movement feels realistic, with your character walking, running, and jumping in a believable way. Depending on how the game allows you to approach enemies, you can sometimes go stealthy and quietly take them down using a regular knife or a throwing knife. You can also use bows and arrows, which are silent and allow you to eliminate enemies from a distance without alerting others. Most of the time, however, you will engage in full action combat, which is where the game truly shines. The combat in Red Dead Redemption 2 is simply amazing. Even though you are mainly fighting normal human enemies, combat never gets boring and always feels satisfying. When you land a good shot, the game sometimes enters a slow motion effect, letting you clearly see the impact of your bullets on enemies, which looks incredible. In addition to knives and bows, you have access to a wide variety of weapons, including different revolvers and rifles, with some functioning like sniper rifles. All of them feel great to use and are extremely fun in combat. With all that said, the game may seem almost flawless, and for the most part, it really is. Red Dead Redemption 2 is incredibly fun and engaging, but there are still a few issues I have to mention. One thing I never understood is why upgrading the gang's camp feels pointless in the long run. From the beginning of the game, I kept collecting money and donating it to help improve the camp. However, by the end of the story, you no longer have a gang, which makes sense narratively, but it also makes all those upgrades feel completely wasted. It just felt strange to spend so much money on something that ultimately disappears. Another issue I had is how slow looting can be. Every time you loot someone, your character slowly walks over, picks them up, and goes through a long animation. While it looks realistic, it quickly becomes annoying, especially when you are looting multiple bodies. I also don't like how the game forces you to walk slowly in certain areas. Instead of letting players decide whether they want to walk or run, the game restricts your movement for no real reason. This hurts the pacing, especially in a game that already has a lot of fast-paced and intense moments. These issues slow the game down more than they should, but thankfully, they are minor complaints. Outside of these few problems, the gameplay experience is absolutely amazing. So now, let's move on to the story. Red Dead Redemption 2 has a fantastic story, the kind of narrative that stays with you long after you finish the game and makes you deeply attached to its characters. The game is a prequel to the first Red Dead Redemption, and what's great about that is that you can play the first game before this one and still experience the story in a meaningful way. Personally, I would recommend playing Red Dead Redemption 2 first, as it helps you understand the characters and their past much better. That said, you can experience the story either way. I played the first game before this one, and after finishing Red Dead Redemption 2, it actually made me want to go back and replay the original because now I fully understand what these characters went through. The story is long and well paced. You primarily play as Arthur Morgan, and after completing his journey, the game continues with two epilogues where you play as John Marston. While I like both characters, Arthur Morgan is easily my favorite, and playing as him throughout this game felt incredibly rewarding. One of the biggest strengths of the story is how much it makes you care about the characters. Each major character feels important and has their own personality and backstory. Arthur Morgan, John Marston with his wife Abigail and son Jack, Dutch the leader of the gang, Charles, Micah, Sadie Adler, Uncle, and many others all feel well written and memorable. This is not your typical good versus evil story. In fact, you are technically the bad guys. You are a group of outlaws constantly running from the law, and that alone makes the story far more interesting. Arthur, alongside Dutch and the rest of the gang, is simply trying to survive in a world that no longer has a place for people like them. The gang is always short on money and never has a permanent place to stay, which forces them to stay on the move, never knowing what the future holds. Along the way, they face another outlaw gang known as the O'Driscolls, while also being hunted by the law and government agents called the Pinkertons. In order to survive, Dutch leads the gang into committing crimes such as robbing banks and attacking trains to make money. The story begins after a ferry heist in the town of Blackwater goes horribly wrong, forcing the gang to flee into the snowy mountains. While searching for shelter, Arthur, Dutch, and Micah rescue a woman named Sadie Adler from the O'Driscolls, who had killed her husband. Arthur then goes on to rescue John Marston and reunite him with his family, before hunting for food to help the gang survive. Once the snow clears, the gang moves to a new area near the town of Valentine, where they carry out a train robbery targeting Leviticus Cornwall. This moment becomes important, as Cornwall hires the Pinkertons to track down and hunt the gang, making their situation even more dangerous. As the story continues, the gang becomes more cautious and stops trusting outsiders. Dutch repeatedly tells everyone that they are done with big risky heists, but as time goes on, he keeps contradicting himself by pushing the gang into even bigger jobs. This is where Arthur truly begins to question Dutch's leadership and mental state. At one point, Pinkerton agents Milton and Ross approach Arthur and question him about the Vanderlyn gang. Arthur denies knowing anything, but the Pinkertons clearly don't believe him and warn that they will be in touch again. After a violent shootout in Valentine, the gang is forced to move once more. They eventually end up in the town of Rhodes, where two powerful families, the Greys and the Braithwaites, are feuding over a stash of gold. The gang believes they can manipulate both families and steal the gold for themselves, but the plan completely backfires. John's son Jack is kidnapped, and although the gang manages to rescue him, they are betrayed in the process by Angelo Bronte. From this point on, Dutch's decision making continues to decline. He plans a major bank heist that goes horribly wrong, resulting in John being captured and the deaths of two important gang members, Hosea and Lenny. These losses hit hard and mark a major turning point in the story. In a desperate attempt to escape the law, the remaining gang members board a ship headed for Cuba, only to end up stranded on the island of Guarma. There, they become involved in a violent civil war, helping enslaved people fight against the plantation owners before finally managing to return to America. Back home, Dutch's poor decisions continue to create more problems, and Arthur's situation becomes even worse when he is diagnosed with tuberculosis. Despite Dutch's orders, Arthur disobeys him and rescues John with the help of Sadie. Dutch's behavior becomes increasingly unhinged. He murders the Vitex Cornwall and deliberately starts a conflict between a Native American tribe and the US Army in order to steal valuable bonds, a plan that ends in a tragic massacre with heavy casualties on both sides. Arthur and Dutch manage to retrieve the bonds, but they are ambushed while escaping. During this moment, Dutch completely abandons Arthur, leaving him to be captured and nearly killed before he is eventually rescued. This betrayal becomes the final breaking point. Arthur separates himself from Dutch, especially after Dutch refuses to help rescue Abigail, who has been kidnapped by Agent Milton. Arthur rescues Abigail with Sadie, where Abigail kills Milton. Arthur also learns the shocking truth. Micah has been working as a mole for the Pinkertons. At this point, the gang begins to fall apart. Several members distance themselves from Dutch, and Arthur urges John to leave and live a peaceful life with his family. Arthur confronts Dutch about Micah being the traitor, but Dutch refuses to believe him. A violent confrontation breaks out, and Agent Ross arrives, intending to wipe out what remains of the gang. Eventually, Dutch realizes the truth about Micah and walks away, leaving Arthur and Micah to fight. Arthur, weakened by tuberculosis, helps John escape before facing Micah alone. Because of his illness, Arthur loses the fight, and depending on the ending you get, he dies in all of them. But I got the ending where Micah leaves Arthur alone, so Arthur lies on top of the mountain watching the sunrise and dies peacefully, making for an incredibly emotional conclusion. The story doesn't end there. Years later, the game continues with John Marston, who buys land for his family and begins rebuilding his life. He eventually tracks down Micah with the help of Charles and Sadie. John finds Micah alongside Dutch, and in a surprising moment, Dutch shoots Micah. John finishes him off, while Dutch walks away, leaving John to find the gang's hidden money. John uses the money to pay off his debts and finally live peacefully with his family, until the events of Red Dead Redemption 1 begins, which is a story for another time. So now, let's talk about the graphics. Red Dead Redemption 2 has absolutely amazing graphics. The level of detail in this game is unreal, and you can truly appreciate how beautiful everything looks no matter where you are in the world. From the snowy mountains to the dry desert areas, dense forests, lakes and rivers, rain effects, and even nighttime lighting, everything looks stunning and incredibly realistic. The way the environment reacts to weather and lighting changes makes the world feel alive and believable. The attention to detail is incredible. You can see it in the way mud sticks to your clothes, how water moves when you walk through it, and how the world changes depending on the time of day. Rockstar really went all out in making this world feel immersive. And it's not just the environments, the characters also look extremely realistic. Facial animations, expressions, and small movements make every character feel human and full of personality. Take a look at some of these visuals.
Rabbits. Maybe we should catch one to cook.
Sure. Try and shoot one.
You don't want to use it.
Now, anyone we find here, we bring in alive, understood? Round them up, then take this operation down for good.
Angelo Brunton? Oh, he's much more the kind of reptile I can handle. Now stay close.
Now let's move on to the sound. The sound design of Red Dead Redemption 2 is fantastic and plays a huge role in making the world feel alive and immersive. The guns sound powerful, and the impact when you take down enemies feels extremely satisfying and realistic. Every weapon has its own weight and presence, making combat even more intense and enjoyable. As you can already tell from how I described the story, the voice acting in this game is truly amazing. Every character sounds natural and believable, and this is one of the biggest reasons why you get so emotionally attached to them. The performances make the characters feel real, and their dialogue stays with you long after you finish the game.
Cam, come on, you go. We ain't got time for this, not now. We ain't both gonna make it. Go. Now, I'll hold them off. It would mean a lot to me. Please. There ain't no more time for talk. Go. Arthur. Go to your family. Arthur! Get the hell out of here and be a goddamn man. You're my brother. I know. I know.
But the best part of the game's sound design is easily its Wild West soundtrack and music. The music plays at the perfect moments, not just during action scenes, but also during quiet exploration and emotional story moments. It enhances every scene and makes everything feel more powerful and memorable. Here, listen to these amazing soundtracks.
Mrs. Adler has a lot to answer for.
Yes, she does.
Dear, that boiled egg is decided.
You're a good man. Thank you, fella.
Now let's get to the final section, which is the replayability. When it comes to replayability, there honestly isn't much to complain about, because Red Dead Redemption 2 offers a massive amount of replay value that's both deep and extremely fun. After finishing the main story and the epilogue, you can continue playing as John Marston and freely explore the huge open world, doing everything I mentioned earlier in the gameplay section. Whether it's side missions, hunting, fishing, helping strangers, or just roaming the world, there is always something to do. If you want to experience the story again from the beginning, the game allows you to start a new playthrough using a separate save slot, so you don't lose your old progress. This makes replaying the story very easy, and honestly, the story is so good that replaying it feels completely worth it. And lastly, if you want to have fun with your friends, you can jump into Red Dead Online. While I personally prefer the single player experience, I know that many people really enjoy Red Dead Online, and it offers its own kind of fun with friends in this world. But now that everything's covered, let's finish things up with my overall impression. Red Dead Redemption 2 delivers exceptional gameplay, a fantastic and emotionally powerful story, stunning graphics, incredible sound design, and a massive amount of replayability. While the game does have small issues mainly with how it sometimes slows the player down, these moments never take away from how enjoyable and immersive the experience truly is. This is an outstanding achievement in gaming and easily one of the best open world experiences ever made. That's why it deserves a nearly perfect score. Here it is. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful review videos. Feel free to share your thoughts on whether the points I've raised resonate with you or if you have a different perspective, and leave your suggestions in the comments about which game you'd like to see reviewed next. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you all for watching.